We are live here on what day is it?
Tuesday.
I didn't say that with a lot of confidence because I really wasn't that confident in what day it was. But again, we welcome you in. Kinner Kev Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. Another jam-packed show for you here today. A lot to get into. The running back market reset in the NFL. Big contract. Didn't think we'd see a big contract for a running back again, but we'll talk about that. The Bengals and Joe Burrow put a little scare in the fan base today. We'll open up with that coming up here in a few moments. But coming up about an hour, we'll be joined by Maddy Westbeld, again, former McDonald's All-American standout Fairmont Firebirds, who's now playing her, college basketball days with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. She has 1 year left remaining, and we'll be joined by her coming up.
Nice. Who will win the three-point shootout? You or her?
Her.
That was a long pause. You actually thought you could win.
Oh, because I could shoot the three, but I would get winded halfway through the rack. I could shoot the three, but I get winded halfway through the rack. I'm just going to be honest with you. No, Maddie's great, and she has a basketball clinic coming up this Friday at Trent Arena. So I'm pretty excited about that. I think this is the second year that she's doing this. I'm excited for her to hop on, and she'll spend a good chunk of the next hour with us. So looking forward to that. We had Duran in studio, kind of chat with him ahead of the draft or whatever. It sounds like he's been offered a promise. He's canceled. We talked about it yesterday's show. He has canceled all his workouts with all remaining NBA teams. And players usually do that once they've been reassured that, okay, at this pick. So the teams that he's probably canceled workouts in have picks past whatever particular team has offered him something. So I found that kind of interesting nonetheless. But Maddie's great. She'll be in with us. Nonetheless, Nate on YouTube, what up, Nate, says Kinner's jump shot is definitely so broke. I'm broke. The jump shot's probably broke. Of the first 10 shots I take, I'll make 7 of them, and then from there I'll be too tired and it'll just go down.
Always got to defend you, man. I pooped with Kinner back before I retired, man. I got to admit, he got a nice little jump shot, or at least had a nice little jump shot. I'm not sure if it's still there, but I got to give you props, man. You had a jump shot. And you played for the Harlem Globetrotters.
And I hit a jump shot. I hit my shot with the Harlem Globetrotters. Now, there are those who say I travel. I don't think I travel. Do I have
NBA rules. NBA rules, man.
Hold on, let me see. I think the video, gosh, I really hope it's on this. It's no. Oh.
It's there?
It is. It is. So, So let's see what we have here. Let's try this. I've never done this. So we are live on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. Head to Facebook now. Y'all be the judge. y'all be the judge if I have this jump shot or not. So let's see what we have. There it is. Okay. So got to make sure there's no. There we go. So now look, here we go.
Uh-oh.
This is me being introduced out onto the floor, looking like butterbean. I was also 40 pounds heavier in this. All right.
Been working out.
I have been working out, which is why it's a concern that I'm still talking about my fitness at this point. Oh, yeah, but let's see.
What's he saying to you as you taking you over?
Look at me bringing them. Oh, that's where it is. All right, so I had to back
clearing out.
First shot. This is the first shot. Now, that's a 4-point line right there. This is great radio. That's a 4-point line. I said, now back up. First shot. Oh, what? In front of the rim. A little tired. Remember, I showed up to the gym, and I was expecting to warm up, and they said, no, it's autograph signing time. And I'm like, I'm not signing autographs. So I had to sit there. That was my first time touching the basketball of the day.
Okay.
So here we go. Butterbean making his way down the right side of the floor, just passing the half-court line. Oh, catch it. Oh, one dribble, step in. Buckets. There you go. Beautiful jump shot. Beautiful.
I got to say, man, a couple weeks ago, we were talking about the Ohio State shorts. Those what those look like.
Those are normal people-sized shorts. I'm not a normal-sized person. Now they did try to get me to dance. You know the movie Hitch?
Yeah.
Yeah, look. He's telling me I have to dance like this. Now I'm freaking out at this point because they didn't tell me what I was going to have to do. So I'm freaking out at this point because I don't have that kind of personality. I don't have that much confidence in the game either. Great radio to start out today.
Indeed.
Great.
Indeed.
So the movie Hitch, there you go. That's where you live. That's where you live. I was not doing anything else. But
that's a travel.
I'm about to show off my layup skills right here, though. Look at this. Bring the ball to the floor, out of breath, got to get rid of it. All
Reset,
right.
Come around the pick.
Boom, look at his footwork. 1-2, go up with the right hand. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. There it is.
5 points in the book.
Boom. The crowd was going crazy.
Yeah.
Nate says, how the hell did you get this opportunity? Very, very lucky.
Do you have any eligibility left?
No. Wow, we are 9 minutes into the show. What a wild open. What a wild open. But, yeah, there you have it. There you have it. But Kinner and Kev, 1410 ESPN Radio. All that started because we said that Maddy Westbeld is going to be coming up on the show here in less than an hour. So there's that. But I'm looking forward to talking with her. Let's see. Ron Howard says, what would you look like if you played the whole game? Gassed. I don't know. I've never played an entire game before. I told you my high school coach, he would put on the roster that I was 5'9". I was like, Coach, it's better than being 5'5" on the roster, so I appreciate that. But why are you putting me down as 5'9"? He goes, well, I can't give you playing time, so I figured the least I could do is give you a few inches on the old height meter over there. So there's that. But,
oh, goodness. It's always a good time.
Let's talk about this. So today, Bengals fans lost their mind. They panicked. And I'm not going to lie, they had good reason to. Paul Dehner Jr., obviously Jay Morrison, friend of the show. You had, obviously James Rapine. Everyone started putting out there that, okay, they show up to Bengals practice today, and there's no Joey B. There's no Joe Burrow. Now, keep in mind, Joe Burrow he attends pretty much every OTA. Now, he does get 1 day a week off. Okay, and yesterday, Zach Taylor thought that the media was going to be there yesterday, so usually they make sure that they give Joe Burrow an off day on days that the media is not there for reasons like this.
Right.
So the media shows up. They expect to see Joe Burrow out there. He's not out there. So then they start putting out these tweets that Joe Burrow's not expected to be out here today. Zach Taylor expected to talk after practice. Now, again, the reason that was also a red flag, Coach, the media always gets the itinerary.
Okay.
And they know which practices and which days you're going to hear from either the GM or the head coach. Zach Taylor was not scheduled to speak with the media after today's practice. So the fact that they show up to practice, there's no Joe Burrow, and now there's an unexpected, visit by the head coach with the media afterwards, that's why this became a scare. Bengals fans were losing their mind. I was slightly concerned, but ultimately, all is well in the world. It was a simple clerical error. Zach Taylor, he thought that the media was going to be there yesterday. It was a simple error. Nothing to panic about. It's all a part, as he said, it's all part of the plan. Man, I'm getting 76ers vibes right here of trust the process. Look, this, I think fans right now have every right to be a little concerned. I don't think that should be concerned based on this, but there's a lot of people out there. We had Bobby Carpenter on the show a while back, and Bobby even said, hey, everyone out there that's acting like just because he had that surgery that everything's fine, everyone heals differently.
Right.
And there's not a lot of people that have had that surgery that get full mobility back in that wrist. AJ Hawk talked about it on the Pat McAfee show. Pat McAfee show's had multiple guests on that have had that surgery that have all said that they have not returned to 100%. They lose, you don't get full mobility back in that wrist. Well, that's his throwing wrist.
Right.
So, yes, everyone that's mocking and making fun of those who panicked today, like I knew it was no big deal. They're just being cautious. They're being cautious because they're concerned too. I'm not saying y'all need to panic, but like I said, and I have to see it to believe it, that Joe Burrow, that this wrist, just because it's surgically repaired, doesn't mean that it's going to return to 100%. And that's not my words. That was Bobby Carpenter on the program 2 weeks ago. That it's easy for guys who aren't going under the knife to say, well, a guy got surgically repaired, he'll be fine. There's still a little doubt out there. Let's just put it down.
Yeah, and from what I understand, the remedy to get like the strength or whatever, or the grip back in there, is to go gloves. Mm-hmm. Gloves. Now, coming from a situation where my quarterback last year wore gloves and played terrible, I'm not a fan of quarterbacks wearing gloves anymore.
Yeah, it's the gloves. It was the gloves in Pittsburgh.
That was the problem. Kenny Pickett's fine. It was the gloves. No, but like you think back to like guys that wore gloves. Kenny Pickett. Who else? Teddy Bridgewater. Who else wore gloves? Matter of fact, I remember Kurt Warner wore gloves like during the second half of his career, like after the New York Giants situation. Then he went to Arizona. He started wearing gloves there. It's just like, it looks weird. I'm not going to lie. It just looks weird when a quarterback is wearing gloves. Gloves are for like wide receivers and offensive linemen. Like, why does a quarterback have a glove on? But hey, if this is the remedy that you're going to have to roll out there with to have grip on the ball and have the strength back in your wrist, so be it. But it's going to look funny.
Yeah, so Zach Taylor tells Paul Dehner Jr. and the rest of the media today that Taylor said that the Burrow plan has involved having the second day off every week. You could say that, but that has not been the case, which is why today was a bit of a surprise. So you could say that's been a part of the plan all along. Well, it hasn't been. So you could just, so So there's that. But again, this is designed to keep him from pushing too hard, part of the return process that they had designed. And look, I'm not trying to make something out of nothing. The bottom line is I do think that they are being very, very cautious. But the problem is many believe that, and I don't know if this is right or wrong, many believe that the being cautious approach by Zach Taylor and the Bengals front office has led to their very slow starts in September every year. We could sit here and talk about, preseason and preseason games. I've argued that, if Joe Burrow doesn't play one preseason game, I don't think that's why they get off to a slow start. I think that what matters is what you're doing Monday through Friday. What are you doing during the practices? Because to me, Joe Burrow's not going to be ready to play in September because he handed the ball off 3 straight times on an opening drive in a preseason game before taking his helmet off and being done for the rest of the afternoon. So to me, this cautious approach is smart because he's coming off that surgery, but how long are you going to be cautious? Into week 1, into month 2, into October, November? This is something to keep an eye on. Surgically repaired does not mean that the problems are behind him. I think that it's only leading to now more concern. The Bengals seem afraid of how to handle this. They've given him $55 million. He's the highest paid quarterback in the history of the league, and they're a little concerned, and rightfully so. It'll be interesting to see what happens coming out of all this.
I think you hit it right there on the head. The $55 million, that's why you're taking it slow, because the absolute worst thing in the world that you could do is have Joe injure himself and him be out for an extended period of time before you even play football. I always say this, hey, man, if you get hurt during the season, it's just dang, that sucks. But if you get hurt before the season even starts, it's oh, man, we didn't even get a chance to see you play. We didn't even get a chance to have our number one guy out there. So I commend the Bengals for taking this situation slow, because guess what? It's only June. There's a whole lot of time between now and June. So if the risk is, say, 75%, maybe you can get it up to 80, 95% by the time things kick off in September.
Unless something has changed, by the way, no Trent Brown. I know we've talked about the option to show up to these and stuff. I still think that Aaron Rodgers got ripped a lot when he was in different position. I get that his last year in Green Bay. It's Aaron Rodgers. What does he need to show up to these for? Well, when you have all rookie wide receiver crew, you need to get out there and grow a rapport with them. You need to take advantage of every opportunity you can. Same thing with these with the offensive line. You need to be out there, and I think that's where Sheldon Rankins on the defensive side. This was his first appearance of these camps or whatever. I think that too much is always made of these things, but I don't think that there's something. But there's always something. There's something there. But it's nothing to panic about as we sit here in almost said late May, but it is officially June.
It's early June. Yeah. So Trent Brown, the offensive lineman they signed from the Patriots, right? He's not there.
He's a big dude.
Yeah. So I do have a problem with that. Him not being there, because you are a new signee. You're new to the team. This isn't a situation where, CeeDee Lamb or T. Higgins, where you're in contract negotiations where you're trying to get your way. You just got your way. You just got a new deal with the team. So I would prefer you be there. And I am the flag waver about voluntary workouts. You don't have to show up if you don't want to. But the mandatory stuff, if you're a new guy to the team, I think it'd be in good taste for you to show up for your first time as a member of the team at the voluntary thing. At the mandatory thing. So like I said before, when all the reports started coming about Joe not being there, maybe there's something in his contract as well that's the reason why he's not there.
Well, to be fair, like they explained, it was all part of the process. It was planned to him not be there.
He's moving. Moving from New England to Cincinnati.
As far as that's concerned.
Packing the U-Haul himself.
Kinner Kev Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. Maddy Westbeld, former McDonald's All-American, Gatorade Player of the Year. Second team All-ACC with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. We're going to talk with her coming up here in a bit. She has a basketball clinic at Trent Arena. Speaking of Trent Arena coming up this Friday.
How cool is that, man?
It is.
That's very cool. You're having your basketball camp in your hometown at your high school, a place where you played your high school basketball, where the flying to the hoop is. So that's very cool.
And her sister was dominant. Her sister won a national championship, in the college ranks too. So her sister played there. But I'm excited to chat with her coming up here in a bit. Now, Ryan Roth, he comes in on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. He says, Kev is so right. Now, let's see, we are 16 minutes and 20 seconds into the show. I don't know what you were right about, but again, there's a lot. There's a lot in there. Kev is so right. All right, we'll be right back. Kinner and Kev, 1410 ESPN Radio. We talked about the wide receiver market exploding yesterday. Well, did it just happen again today? In the running backs department. We'll discuss next. And we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. We are live. Chatterbox Sports on YouTube, live on ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel, Justin Kinner Show Facebook page, iHeartRadio app. I mean, the old 1410 Wing AM dial. So,
do it live.
So there's that. But we're back with you off and running here on a Tuesday. Maddy Westbeld, former Fairmont Firebird standout, now playing her college days at Notre Dame. She's returning home this Friday for the Maddy Westbeld basketball clinic at Trent Arena. So we'll talk about that. Also, one thing we went back and looked at, she's a former McDonald's All-American. She was a former McDonald's All-American the same season as, well, pretty much the rookie class that's dominating in the WNBA right now, with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and everyone else.
Absolutely. I'm pulling up that list right now. But Cam Britt, also a part of that, plays for the Sparks right now. Paige Beckers, who's also returning for a fifth year at UConn. So, it's a jam-packed roster.
So to get her perspective, too, from a girl that's played with her, that's in the college ranks too, just kind of the perception of the Caitlin Clark versus the WNBA that this is basically turned into. Have you ever seen a story that has just dominated headlines like in this type of way? I mean, any pub is good pub, but at a certain point it has to turn into basketball, right? Like, it's not there yet,
right?
But it's, I said it yesterday. I still don't think this is a horrible thing for the WNBA yet. But if we're going to get into August and this is still being talked about, then that defeats the purpose of what this was all supposed to be about. Hopefully it all evens out or at least dies down a little bit. But I've never seen the Women's Association talk about as much as this, especially on this show, but all shows, national, even non-sports shows talking about it. So it's pretty wild.
Yeah, I had a major back and forth dialogue with some friends this morning and this afternoon about everything that's going on, and you hit the needle right on the head. It's we haven't even talked about the games yet. We're not talking about the games. We're talking about fouls. We're talking about everything else besides the actual basketball games. And I know you're a person that believes that any publicity is good publicity, but at some point we do need to start talking about what's actually happening on the court. Because people may not know this, but the Connecticut Sun are undefeated. The defending champs, the Aces, they've lost 2 home games. They didn't lose any home games at all last season. So that's also a storyline. There's a ton of things going on in the association outside of Caitlin Clark being fouled very hard. There's other things going on. So I would like us to get to that place at some point. But like I said, in the back and forth I was having with my guys, is look, man, there's one thing that I've learned in my career working in media. Nothing moves the needle like a racial debate. And for whatever people want to say, this has a racial element to it. Everything, not only in sports, but especially in this country, has a racial divide to it. I'm sorry to tell you.
Can I respectfully ask how in this? And I know the answer.
Yeah.
But my pushback on that is Paige Beckers and
right.
There's white players that come into the league. White players, okay? I'm not Pat McAfee here. There's white ladies, okay? There are white players that come into the league, and you go back to even the Katie Smiths and the Rebecca Lobos and the Lindsay Whalens, and I can go on and on. Those were white players that came in and dominated, and they didn't create this. That's always my pushback on this is well, this seems to be, I guess it's being made into that, but my pushback is if this was in the NBA, there's not a lot of white players that come in and dominate, and the white players that do, they're not American born. Right. So there's Luka's white, but he's not American white. So, you guys don't get to take credit for him, guys. Sorry. But with this, I could see if there was no white players in the WNBA that were dominating, and then all of a sudden here comes Caitlin Clark, and now she's getting all these things that the black players weren't getting. But there's a lot of good white players, too, that weren't getting what Caitlin Clark is. And the white players don't seem to be jealous of her. So now it's just turning into this very weird thing of where's the race element coming from? Because why is it for her there's race, but not the other white players, if you will?
It's not, in my opinion, it's not from the league itself or the players themselves, because you talked about it with Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi. They're white. They quote unquote hated on her.
That's true. I forgot that white on white, man.
It seems like the whole UConn crew teamed up on her. Remember that yes. that screen that she got laid on her from Breonna Stewart when they played the Liberty 2 weeks ago. So it's not from necessarily the league and the players in the league. It's just hey, in my humble opinion, I think it's, hey man, It's vets versus rooks. You guys are hot bleep. You guys got the bag while you're in college. We did not get the bag while we was in college. You come into our league, the most competitive league in sports. We're going to show you how real this league is. So it hasn't only been, Caitlin Clark getting fouled hard. We talked about Angel Reese being clotheslined last week. Cameron Britt got elbowed in the face twice on one play last week. So like those are happening. The racial element and the racial divide and the picking a side in this is happening on your favorite place in the world, social media. Like that's where it's happening. Whatever news organization that you get your news from, they're taking a side. Take that however you want. But you tune into certain news channels, they are messing with her. Like that's the push that's going on out there, which absolutely has nothing to do with Caitlin Clark, the person, because Caitlin Clark, the person and basketball player, isn't the one going out there saying, hey, they're picking on me. They're bullying me. Stop it from happening. She's going out there taking it like a champ. Like, hey, it's not a basketball play, but we're out here to play basketball. So whatever. Like she's taking it like a champ. So that's where I'm viewing it from. And I can't believe I wrote a text message this dang long. I'm just going back towards what I was writing to those guys and everything. But yeah, to the Rooks thing, I just think that it's the veterans basically telling the Rooks, you got to come here and earn it. You guys got to come here and earn it before they may give it to you. Nike may give it to you. The league may give it to you. The talking heads may give it to you, but we're not going to give it to you because Sabrina Ionescu's, I think she's like in her 3rd or 4th year. If you go back and watch what happened to her, this is the same thing that happened to her because Sabrina, like she came in with all the hype. You got to think, like Kobe was going to her games. She was hosting at Kobe's basketball camps and stuff like that. Like her and Kobe were tight. Like, so, you cool with Kobe? That's what's up. Come get this elbow. Like I just don't have a big problem with it. Like I understand why, like, the Stephen A's and probably more seasoned folks out there have an issue with it, but we're expecting athletes to think like CEOs and commissioners. They're not CEOs and commissioners. They're athletes. So think of the big picture. If she wins, you all win. Let her get a layup. No, that's not.
But see, that's where I feel like the divide's happening too. On top of that other layer is people don't like to be talked to like we're silly, right? So like no one said let her have a layup.
Right.
It's the, and then I also like Shimei Gumike, who I liked when she was on ESPN radio. I just thought it was silly to give her a show because you gave an active WNBA player a radio show knowing you have to take it from her and interrupt ESPN's radio lineup for the 100th time. But like,
tell them why you mad.
There's a lot of new WNBA fans that are learning the part. We're not dumb. We know what basketball is. We know this. Like we know no one's saying give up the layup. No one's saying that. But
Gilbert Arenas said it.
Well,
just to be clear. But you're right. Continue.
No. But and again, sometimes you'll get like select people that say it, and now they speak for everyone.
Right,
and it turns into this thing.
But
it's media wars that the players get caught up in. But then I do believe how this all started was the rivalry between Angel Reese and her.
Right.
And Angel Reese is a pain in the ass as well because she's like, I can relate to her a lot because I did a lot of picking on my brothers when I was growing up, and I would set them up to react. And then I would sit back and go, whoa, what is this? What is this? That's her.
Mm-hmm.
She knows what the hell she's doing. The bottom line is the fact that Caitlin Clark and I talk about everything just from a basketball perspective. But, when I tweeted this last night, I got destroyed, so I took it down because I got called racist. I got called racist last night.
You had to take something down this week too?
That word scares me, so I take it down. So Angel Reese is something ridiculous. Like I'm the reason people are tuning into basketball too. But people love her, but Caitlin Clark's the problem, who literally says nothing. She says nothing. Media tries to set her up to say something controversial. She won't say a dang thing. Everyone hates on her. Angel Reese just continues with these idiotic comments. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Why? But I kind of like it at the same time. I like those types of players. What do you mean those types of players? I like those agitator type of players. I like the Draymond Greens. I like the Grayson Allens. I like who's the dude with Houston that's always tripping people all the time. And why am I drawing a blank? going at LeBron all the time. He was with Memphis. And then got
Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks. Like, she's a combination of that. Like, there's so many moving parts to all of this.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad that's the perfect word to use. So many moving parts.
So it's not just that you didn't say it was just race, but like,
Yeah.
it's not just race. It's not just this. It's the vets versus the rookies. It's everything. But I also do not think that people don't understand the WNBA. People understand the WNBA, but they're also they understand the WNBA. They understand the WNBA as far as being, you weren't relevant until now.
Right.
And that's a harsh thing to say. And I think it's drawing out of people to say it aggressively, because you're coming aggressive, not you, but like they're coming aggressive at, we kind of missed the days. I forgot Carrie Champion says she missed the days of, when men weren't commenting on the WNBA. I'm like, you don't mean that. You really don't mean that. Like a year ago, it was, man, these women deserve more attention. Then the league gets attention, and now that's not the kind of attention we want.
Right, exactly.
It's just, this whole thing's just driving me nuts.
So I was having a conversation with my brother, and he actually said this when the season where the women's college basketball season was going on. It's like, when she goes to the W, it's going to be a bleep show. It's going to be a bleep show, because there's going to be new fans dropping in who don't follow the game like that. So I said last night, I was like, I think I'm viewing this from the right perspective. I think I'm viewing it from, there's newbies watching the W. There's casuals like myself who only watch the Connecticut Sun versus the Aces, or Connecticut Sun versus the Liberty. Like, I'm watching those games. I'm not watching the Mystics versus the Dream. Those are bad basketball teams. I'm not watching that. I'm watching the elite of the elite. Much like yourself, when you talk about, college basketball, you want to watch the big guys play. Yeah. Like, that's how I feel about the WNBA. If I'm watching Asia Wilson and get it on. Like, those are the teams that I want to watch. I'm not watching the bad teams. And then you have the diehards. So people like myself that watch the NBA, and I could watch basically any NBA game. I could care less how terrible the teams are. I'll still watch. And I think all those three are fighting amongst themselves. And then you got the vets versus the rooks. And then inside of that, you got the racial element. And then you got, the people that are trying to promote big business versus the athletes say, I don't care about business. I care about winning basketball games. And like, it's just a circle of Tasmanian devils going at each other left and right. And I'm not sure when it's going to stop, because they're not going to win a lot of basketball games this season. They're still going to be on TV a ton left and right. I'm just hopeful that once the playoffs start, that the people that came to watch Caitlin Clark stay to watch the other teams, the good teams. Like, y'all fighting over bad teams. Y'all not even fighting over the good teams. You're not even saying like, oh man, Asia Wilson, oh man, she really not that good. Why she getting all this pub? You're not even talking about her. You're not talking about all the other players out there in the league that are actually playing well, the teams. Like, I mean, you look at Dejanay Carrington, like, she couldn't buy a jump shot to save her life, but she's one of the best defensive players in the league. Like, we talk about her first game, Caitlin Clark's first game, where she had, 8 turnovers? Carrington had 5 steals. Like, that's crazy. Like, those are the things, like, I'm hopeful that people actually tune in for once the teams that aren't going to make the playoffs are ousted, like the Fever, like this guy. They're not making the playoffs.
But that's where this stuff's hurting the league. I said yesterday, some of this is good initially, but what it's doing now is it's the rest of the league bad, Caitlin Clark good. Rest of the league bad, Caitlin Clark good. So you're right. You're talking about Connecticut Sun, 8-0, undefeated. You look at the Liberty up at the top, and there's the Aces and all that stuff. And, you have the Chicago Sky with they get Cardoza and they get Angel. But the problem is you're right. Like, those should be the things, but like the drama. The ultimate thing, take opinions out of it. The data and the numbers are showing you, what's that, Stephen A. I don't really care, or whatever he said. like the attendance, although has gone up over the years, when you look at the spike of Caitlin Clark games on the road, through the roof. Now, the second time through the league, third time through the league, can they, that'll be the tail. But they showed a graphic this past weekend, the 2 Fever games that were played on the road, sellouts.
Yeah.
No other game was sellouts.
Right.
4 of the top 5 rated games this year that were in the millions, 4 of them were Caitlin Clark's, and I don't know what the other other game was, but it's like the viewership, the ticket sales, the attendance, it's Caitlin Clark and no one else. So that's the Pat McAfee thing yesterday that got him into some trouble. Of course, all he set himself up for failure with that.
Right.
That's all people talked about, and they totally missed what his point was. Now he's doing the show in Indianapolis, so of course there's more of that homegrown.
Yeah,
he's taking care of his team type of situation there. But what he's trying to say is he got tired of like the carry champions in the media of the world. He was going at them, and they were going back at him, saying, "Stop saying it's this rookie class. It's not this rookie class. The data is showing it's not this rookie class. The attendance and all this stuff, it's showing it's not the rookie class. It's this." Caitlin Clark. It's this girl right here, right? So that's
it's this.
It's yeah. So that was, and I'm not defending him. All I'm saying is like because he took it up that notch, now no one paid attention to that.
The actual
but
facts.
Again, now it's subtle shots across the pond. Now Jamel Hill has her hands like she's what is this? Because it's the clip of that, and I'm like, and now there's that extra racial element to it, and now we're not talking about that. So this isn't going away anyway.
Oh, it's not going anyway anytime soon. The only thing I will say about the Angel Reese thing, I'm not a big me person. I'm not a big like, hey, look at me. This is what I did. This is what I accomplished. Look, pat me on the back. I'm not that type of person. But she does deserve some more. I don't know if credit is the right word, but like some people are acting like this is the only reason like people are watching. Like she had to have a villain or a rival to go up against.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can pull up the tweets when I was saying she was the best college basketball player, men's or women's, hands down. And when I'm talking about I'm talking about Caitlin Clark, hands down. This is the year going into them playing LSU in the championship game. No traction. It was getting zero traction on ESPN. The only time I was catching those highlights were on the Big Ten Network. That's where I was watching all the games and all the highlights and stuff like that. She didn't, quote unquote, explode until the ring point in the you can't see me stuff, the Final Four game, the great game that she had against South Carolina on that Friday night, and then the championship game on that Sunday. From that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like that's when it exploded. So she, quote unquote, needed a quote unquote rival to go up against. So there's a dance in this. It takes two to tango. Like Larry Bird wouldn't have been Larry Bird without Magic Johnson, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. Magic Johnson wouldn't have been himself without Larry Bird. It takes two to do this dance. So like that's where I view it from with Angel Reese. Like, hey man, like when there is quote unquote jealousy or resentment and everything like that, normally the bells and whistles are given to the person that wins a championship, that wins. Like, well, Angel Reese and her LSU teammates did that. South Carolina and Camila Cardoza and her teammates did that, and they're not getting that quote unquote shine. Don't have a problem with that because she is the unique figure here. She's doing things that y'all can't do. Y'all are traditional basketball players or bigs. She's changing the game with her shooting and things like that. Yeah, she's the Steph Curry of this league. No problem with it all. But what I do believe is like, hey man, there's a certain population that says like it's her, it's only her. Nobody matters else but her. Like, well, there's a reason why she's being not propped up, but there's a reason why like this became a thing, because there's been several other female basketball players of her complexion that were ballers. Like we could talk about, Sue Bird and Taurasi and basically any player that played at UConn, Elena Deladon, like the list goes on and on and on about basketball players that are next level, that are good, that didn't get that. What did Caitlin Clark have that they don't have? They didn't have a rival to go up against. This was a made-for-TV product, and it played out right on TV. It gave us exactly what we wanted. And like I said, we'd be foolish to think there's not a racial element to it. There's a black girl, there's a white girl. They both play basketball. One is viewed as a villain, one's a big crap talker. Like, oh, this is perfect. Like, there's no doubt in my mind the folks at ESPN are just sitting back, counting these Benjamins left to right, ad dollars out the wazoo, because it sells itself. It sold itself. And then, you think for 1 second that, they magically matched up in the Elite Eight? Like, we know some of this stuff is manufactured. If the college football playoff told us anything, hey man, we gonna manufacture some of this stuff. They manufactured it, and they gave the people what they wanted. They gave them what they wanted.
So going back to that championship game, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, 2 years ago, I was a big Reese guy. Then the talking started, and it's like you would think that Caitlin is doing what she's doing with the hate that she's getting, but like the league is not how is Angel Reese not being ganged up on by the league? All the rookies that are taking shots and stuff.
Oh, she did.
She's like hiding behind. And by the way, that tandem is the most dangerous tandem in basketball because she's just going to egg her on that's scary town right there with those two. But no, it's like, so that comment she made last night. Now she would go on to say we as the rookie class, but that's not what she said initially.
Exactly.
She caught herself and was like, oh crap, I said me.
Exactly.
And she meant me, but she knew she had to save herself and say we because and all this stuff. But the bottom line is in my post last night was, well, hold on, I was like, we only talk Angel Reese when she goes up against Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark's getting talked about every single night.
Right.
You're a chapter. She's a book. Like, that's wrong. I'm going at it aggressive because I might, but yeah, but it has people talking.
Yeah, she definitely messed up when she said me instead of we. If she would have kept saying it's all of us, it's the collective, I had absolutely no problem with it.
There still would have been haters that would still go at it.
Yeah.
No, it's not, but
yeah, but I
it
mean,
would have been safer to say than
exactly.
me.
Like look, you're good, but you're not unique. You're not a unique basketball player. Like, you're not, I mean, you're good, but you're not unique. Caitlin Clark is unique. What she's doing is one of a kind. But I do believe that, look, man, they got to stop that. And I pushed back on this initially about, the Indiana Fever schedule and everything like that. But I started thinking, like, wait, Saturday they had that home game versus the Sky. And then the very next day they played at New York. I don't recall, I'm probably dead wrong, WNBA having back-to-backs.
They don't have enough games to play back-to-backs.
They don't have enough teams to play the back-to-backs. Like, so why are they playing a back-to-back?
They're the only team that's played double-digit games. I mean, the Connecticut Sun are 8-0. The Fever are 2-9. They're the only team that's played double-digit games so far. They played 11 games in 20 days. Now,
nope, that cow.
The problem is as she plays better and the team gets better on the back half, now they'll be seen less on TV or whatever, but nonetheless. But
I did a deep dive. They're trying to get all this stuff in, before the Olympic break. So they got the Olympic break where half the best players are going to go play in the Olympics for about a month, and then they're going to come back and resume the season. So like it's a up and down. So I'm expecting her to have a great second half of the WNBA season, because I almost view it as kind of like how the Lakers won the bubble championship, where Anthony Davis and LeBron James were hurt at that point where, the season got put on pause. They were able to get healthy. And the worst thing in the world anybody will want is a healthy LeBron James and Anthony Davis. You want them worn down in the playoffs. Well, you didn't get that. And I called it when they went to the bubble. I was like, oh, they're going to win because LeBron's going to be healthy. And y'all don't stand a chance.
LA, this is for you.
Indeed.
So we're live on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page, live on Chatterbox Sports, live on ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel, or on ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel, iHeartRadio. So a couple comments had come in during that segment. And by the way, anytime you comment on any of the stuff, we're able to pull it into the show and interact with you that way. Keith Bond's on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. He says, blame the media. Clark is great, but she's just a Curry of the WNBA. And we say just a Curry.
Just a Curry.
That's a good. I think the WNBA loves having the Steph Curry. They want the Anthony Davises, the Kevin Durant's, and the Giannis Antetokounmpos, and a Jokic.
Someone come off.
So, as far as that's concerned, let's see. Roger says Fever going to get a win against the Mystics this Friday. Roger coming in with the WNBA team. Okay. So there you go. Oh, here's Ron. Let me read Ron's first before. I'll just be careful with that one. I never know what Ron's going to say. So, Roger Ross says the question is, does the controversy turn off fans or turn more fans on to what's happening in the W?
That's a good question.
And that's a question that won't be answered for quite some time. But head to the Chatterbox Sports on YouTube, ESPN Dayton YouTube, the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. That's where you can watch the show and interact with us. We got Maddy Westbeld, former Fairmont Firebird, again, former McDonald's All-American, Gatorade Player of the Year back in 2020. She's now, of course, competing in college basketball ranks with Notre Dame. Hopefully a year from now, we're talking about her in the WNBA. Pretty cool as far as that goes. But she'll join us coming up here in a bit. So, hey, I teased earlier the running back market being upset. Let's see if I could do my job and, follow the tease. We'll be right back. a.m. 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. All right. How about Christian McCaffrey getting some serious dough today?
Big Bank Hank.
Resetting the running back market. And I didn't think that we would see that happen the way that it has. But yes, that was a huge news that happened earlier this afternoon, about an hour before the show started today. But $19 million a year for a running back, close to $20 million a year for a running back. I mean, that's a huge deal. Yesterday, we talked about the fact, of course, that, the Justin Jefferson, the $35 million a year at the wide receiver market. Of course, what that means for the Bengals is they're about to start their negotiations with the Jamar Chase. But yeah, Christian McCaffrey, why they use his picture for him, I'm not 100% sure, but more power to him. Christian McCaffrey has signed a 2-year extension with the 49ers, averaging about $19 million per year, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. Now, with that being said, Christian McCaffrey, right now it's going to break down after everything they restructure a little bit. It'll go down to 16. Again, the highest paid running back in the NFL. That'll bounce up to 19. I'm sorry, but there's going to be about a $4 million per year gap between him and Alvin Kamara. Derrick Henry's another big name running back. I know we're going to talk about this more later on, in the show, but that's big, but they're able to do that because, and we talked about this yesterday, we're starting to see a separation of how teams build their rosters in the NFL. It's not the blueprint used to be pay your quarterback, put money in your defense, make sure your offensive line's good, and draft running backs, and you should be good to go. That's starting to change a bit. Teams are starting to gamble a little bit and say, well, we don't need to have a Patrick Mahomes. We don't have to have a Joe Burrow. Now, technically you do, because until you see a team consistently win a Super Bowl without high-level quarterbacks, I don't really know what to tell you. But teams are starting to gamble a bit with how aggressive they are putting these rosters together. The Dolphins might be doing the same thing, especially if they commit to Jalen Waddle, which they did, and an extension for Tyreek Hill to get him up, the board a little bit at, wide receiver pay. But the Niners going against the norm, Kev, making a running back, giving him $20 million a year. The Browns are paying Amari Cooper $20 more a year, and that's the receiver that has actually led the AFC North, the loaded AFC North the last 2 years. Wild move for the Niners, but they can do it with the quarterback on a rookie deal.
You say that, but I'm still curious how they're doing it. Like, okay, he's under a rookie deal, but how, mathematically is this possible where he's getting big money? Debo's getting big money. George Kittle's getting big money. Trey Williams getting big money. Bosa's getting big money. Fred Warner's getting big money. That's 8 dudes getting big money. Now, I'm not sure if they are at the top level paid guys in the league, but I think going back to what the Rams were the last team out there that so many guys have been taken care of financially. To me, this is screaming that either Ayuk or Debo is gone before the season starts. There's absolutely no way that they are going to keep all those guys. I just don't see it. Maybe it's because Brock Purdy was a 7th round pick that his number is even lower than a 1st round pick. They're able to make these numbers work, but they just paid Jawan Jennings as well. Now, Jawan Jennings isn't a $20 million a year receiver, but what I'm saying, he just got his contract extended, so he's getting paid, he's getting taken care of. But top level guys out there on their roster are getting paid. If I'm not mistaken, Bosa was the highest non-paid quarterback
until
before yesterday, right? So he's getting money out the wazoo. Fred Warner is the best middle linebacker in football, so he's getting paid out the wazoo. So I'm not sure what they're doing out there. I wish I had more insight.
And it goes back to, this is when we had Jack Duffin on last year with the Orange and Brown Report. He had come on the program because so many people were like, well, the Browns are screwed because they paid Deshaun Watson all that guaranteed money. They won't have money for anybody else. But all they've done is they've increased the contract of, obviously, Myles Garrett. They have a top 5 paid tight end in David Njoku. You have a receiver in Amari Cooper making $20 million a year. You have the highest paid quarterback as far as fully guaranteed money. You have Denzel Ward, who at one point was the highest paid cornerback in the National Football League. They went out and paid good money to get Juwan Thornhill. They Zadarius Smith. They paid good money to get him. The Browns are spending money left and right. And very similarly to the 49ers, it's because when you have a rich owner, you have there was all the talk about why the Bengals had to put the naming rights of the stadium the way that they did. I mean, they have traditionally never done that.
Right.
They had to do it because you needed upfront money to put in escrow, because you have to be able to have this money off to the side when you're going to do fully guaranteed contracts or front load contracts to be able to pay these signing bonuses. You have to have that money up front.
You have to prove that you got it.
Yeah, you have to prove that you have it. So the Bengals don't just have that money sitting somewhere. That's why they had to do what they did. The Browns have one of the richest owners, if I'm not mistaken. I think the richest owner, the Panthers have that. The Browns have the second or third highest richest owner in football. The Niners have the same thing. And they're front loading these contracts and able to give them to them up front. That's what a lot of this is coming down to, is can you do it? So when Bengals fans are confused as to, man, you signed Joe Burrow and now they're concerned about T. Higgins and they're being weird with Hendrickson and, Jamar Chase, they say they're going to pay him, but are they? That's because they don't have as much upfront money. I mean, Mike Brown's one of the poorest owners in football. No, he's not poor, but they just don't have that money up front. The teams that have that money up front, that's why they're able to get cute with the salary cap. I learned that last year in our conversation with Duffin. We might have to have him on again just to kind of educate us on what's exactly happening, why some teams are, they're almost just crippled by some of the decisions that they make, and others just keep on going, like Cleveland and the Rams and others. But the Rams have a Super Bowl. The Niners are regularly in the NFC Championship game, and then there's the Browns. So, they have something to show for it, please. I would appreciate it.
Browns is the Browns.
The Browns is the Browns. So, nonetheless. Yeah, and Ron, yes, I got you, Ron. The difference is the 49ers spend money and win. Cleveland spends money and still the Browns. 11 wins last year, Ron, with 5 different quarterbacks. They had every reason to finish in last. And who finished in last year? Who they? All right. Maddy Westbeld, former Fairmont Firebird, former McDonald's All-American. She has the Maddy Westbeld basketball clinic coming up at Trent Arena this Friday. And she's waiting on us right now. She's going to pop on the show on the other side. So we'll be right back. We'll catch up with her. We're going to talk, Notre Dame basketball with her. That's where she's playing right now. We'll talk about all the talent basketball-wise that's here in the Miami Valley, her camp, her thoughts on the Caitlin Clark situation. And, we have a lot to get into with Maddy Westbeld coming up in hour number 2. We'll be right back. Kinner and Kev, 1410 ESPN Radio. We are back at it here on a Tuesday and excited for this hour of the show because we have a couple guests. We're going to be talking some college football coming up here around the corner. The new, college football video game, of course. I know Kev, is jacked about that. We have to figure out how we're going to get I think Drake's bringing in the system, correct? Is that how we're going to be able to not get work done here in the building?
Absolutely. I can't wait. But you got to get a PlayStation 5, man, because, with the new gaming world, we don't have to be in the same room to play each other. We can play virtually, man. So, just like we're doing the show right now, I'm at home because of all the construction going on at the building. So, we can work and not work.
Well, as an adult, my wife controls what I spend my money on, and I'm not allowed. I don't think I'm allowed to get. If I tell her I'm getting a video game system, she's just going to look at me and say, "How old are you?"
Wait, you don't have a rich big brother like I do?
No, I work in radio. I also work in radio. That also works against me. But
the luck of the draw. The luck of the draw.
We welcome you guys in again. It's Kinner and Kev Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. And, we've spent a lot of time over the last couple of weeks, really. I mean, we talked nothing but college sports in general, whether it's college football, college basketball. NIL has been one of the biggest topics, out there, whether it's being abused by schools or being used the right way. And I think the way, with our next guest that we have coming on here, I think the way that everyone had envisioned what NIL was going to be was in this format, which is why I'm excited to bring on our next guest. She played her high school basketball days at Fairmont High School, again, a former McDonald's All-American, of course, and her awards list goes on, Kev. And she plays her college basketball days at Notre Dame. And we have Maddy Westbeld hanging out with us. And Maddy, I know we were having some mic issues a little bit ago. You got to love technology, but we welcome you onto the show. We thank you for your time today.
I appreciate you guys so much for having me.
There we go.
Yeah.
We are off and rolling. Off and rolling. Do you have a video game? Do you play video games? Will you be playing the new college football video game when it comes out, Maddy?
I actually just got a PS5, so I don't really play video games, but I'm just getting into it.
There you go. That's awesome.
There you go.
That's awesome.
But, hey, we appreciate your time. And, as I was teasing, your introduction coming in, you talk about NIL. And one of the cool things about this is obviously for college athletes such as yourself to be able to use your name, image, and likeness to go out and make money with outside basketball ventures, or at least, basketball ventures that aren't just only team associated, like with the Fighting Irish, of course. But coming up this Friday at Trent Arena at Fairmont High School, you'll have the Maddy Westbeld's basketball clinic. So as we get things started here today, just kind of tell us about this. Is this the first year you have done a camp like this? Just kind of tell everyone about what they can expect and who can attend.
That's awesome. I'm so excited about it. So this actually is my second annual camp. I ran one last year. And it's an interesting time because there's a lot of camps and, high school things going on right now. But it is a basketball clinic. It's ages 1st or 12th. And there's 2 different sessions. It's a 1-day camp. So it's really quick and easy, but it is a amazing way that, me, my friends, some people who I've grown up with around the area, we all went on to play at the next level, and we all have a really big passion for giving back to the community, through basketball. And so this is just a great way. I love the people that I'm working with. Xander Smart is my head trainer. He's my trainer when I come home. And I trust him with everything. So he is just going to do a great job on Friday. But yeah, spots are filling up. So I'm really trying to get out there and get kids to sign up. One other thing is actually Olivia Miles is my special guest. So I'm really excited to have my point guard from Notre Dame there. And just give these kids an amazing experience, give them some free T-shirts. It'll be a great time.
Talk about the importance of bringing it back here to your hometown.
Yeah, it really means everything to me. I think this community, Kettering, Fairmont in general, everything, like, it's the community who raised me. My family is really big and ingrained into this community. Yeah, it's where I was born and raised. And so it just means everything to me. Everybody, you go to the grocery store and you can't run into, you never not run into people that you see or that you know. So it really just means everything to me to be able to bring a community together wherever I'm at.
Yeah, obviously the station is located in Kettering, so we go to the Kroger right around the corner. So I'm sure you've been to that Kroger before. Don't know if you've been there recently, but they remodeled it. So if you go in there this weekend, it's totally changed since the last time you've been there. The fruit isn't where the fruit was. The cereal isn't where the cereal was. It's totally flip-flop. Just a heads up.
That's actually, I was just talking about that. I just did that the other day.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a quick trip anymore because I don't know where the hell anything is every time I go in there. No doubt. But Maddy, quick question too. Like, obviously when you put these camps on, Kev asked you about the importance of bringing it back to the community that you just talked about here in Kettering, helped raise you, of course. But just talk about that too. I mean, to hold camp at Trent Arena has to be pretty special for you, of course, which is pretty neat. But just talk about the help that the school and the athletics department. I mean, are they working hand in hand with you as well to help put this on? I know you talked about your trainer when you come home, but just kind of talk about the help that your hometown is also giving you, especially the school that you spent your entire high school career at.
Absolutely. My head coach, Jeremy Finn, from high school, has been a tremendous help, and so has all of Fairmont Athletics, Fairmont Boosters. They have been an incredible help and just assisting me with kind of the different levels of how camp, how running your own camp works. And obviously, like you said, the NIL space now, you kind of can do whatever you want. And I'm learning how to be a businesswoman while I'm going to school, while I'm playing basketball. So I have a lot of different mentors who have been helping me along the way to just kind of show me the ropes and figure out, because college athletes, we don't have any job experience. Our job is playing basketball. So yeah, I'm kind of just learning how I go. And like I said, everybody has been a tremendous help from every aspect of running my own business, building my brand, running my own clinic.
Going back to last season, ACC champs. You guys are able to cut down the nets and everything like that. A good run in the tournament. Talk about last season.
Last season was really a movie. It was really, really fun. And there was a lot of adversity that we hit, with just different injuries and stuff. We had, we were short-staffed, to say the least. We had, I think, 6-7 girls who were playing, and a lot of us play 40 minutes every night. So, or just about every night. So it was really interesting. And I think it really brought us close as a team, and chemistry wise, and the love that we have for each other is really, on a different level because of how difficult, we had to fight to get into the position that we were in. So, last season I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'm blessed that I have another year because it didn't go out the way that I wanted to. And I'm just excited for the opportunities that we have, the people we have coming back, and the new faces that we're going to have starting next week when I get back to campus.
Nice. Now, talk about being coached by Coach Ivy. I mean, she's a former player at Notre Dame. She won the championship during her playing days. Does she ever remind any of the players, like, hey, if you want to get one of these, this is what you got to do. This is the type of work you got to put in?
Absolutely. I think it's really interesting because every single person on the staff has experienced being a champion.
Oh, wow.
And so they know what it's like. They have been in the winning program at Notre Dame, specifically under Coach McGraw. And so being under Coach Ivy, she's one of my biggest mentors personally, just as a human, first, before an athlete, before, a student. And so she's just somebody that I look up to as a leader. And I'm really grateful for the chance to be mentored by her, be coached by her, because, she is excellent. My coaching staff is excellent. And they try to carry that forward into, each habit that we have every day, the way we walk into the gym. We have amazing athletic facilities and practice facilities that we walk into, and we see all the banners and the national championship trophies everywhere. And we recognize, like, we didn't earn those. We got to fight for them every day. So it's really, it's a humbling experience to be able to be coached by somebody like that.
We have Maddy Westbeld with us here. It's the Kinner Kev Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. Maddy Westbeld, former Fairmont Firebird, playing her college basketball days with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, of course. Giving us a little time today. She has her camp coming up this Friday, June 7th at Trent Arena. Again, Maddy Westbeld's basketball clinic. We'll highlight more details about that again coming up here in a few moments and how you can get your kids enrolled for that coming up here on Friday. But Maddy, right now, women's basketball, whether it be college or the WNBA, is being talked about more than it ever has. And of course, it's being spun in a lot of different directions. But with you currently playing women's college basketball, just from your perspective, I mean, especially with how much it's changed just as of late, from when you started your college basketball career to now, just from a player's perspective, how much has the women's game changed, in your opinion, just from how it's perceived and how it's being watched and how the product's being taken in?
It's skyrocketed, and I think the talent never changed, but the publicity changed. The way that we have been viewed is changed, and the respect that we have has changed. And I've been a little kid in the stands watching my sister since I was a kid, and watching my brother since I was a kid, and being able to be in their shoes now, in my sister's shoes now, I just have kind of a broader perspective of what has been, what is now, and what could be. And I'm really, really inspired and excited about what the game has become and where it's going to go in the future, as I see myself in the league someday, hopefully this time around next year. And I don't know, I'm just really, really grateful to be in this experience now. There's Trailblazers, my coach, like I said, my coaching staff, everybody who I have seen, who has mentored me, has been in those shoes and has experienced it before the lights and before everybody has had their eyes on women's basketball. So I'm really grateful to be in this opportunity right now.
So, Maddy, I'm a younger brother. You're a younger sister. Your sister played at Notre Dame as well. Do you kind of rib her about your opportunity to get NIL dollars? I know I would do that to my brother.
Well, it's definitely a humble conversation. She's nothing but supportive. She recognizes the grind. She knows what it takes, and obviously she's a national champion. And forever she will be a national champion. And so it's just, I don't know, the opportunities that she has given me firsthand. I wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't for her. The path that she has blazed for me. And so it's just, like I said, it's a humble conversation that I have because I know where I would be without her. So yeah.
Maddy, when you picked Notre Dame, obviously I'm sure your sister had a lot to do with that. How much did she have to do with that? You wanted to kind of follow in her footsteps, to continue the Westbeld legacy, if you will, there at that school. Just kind of talk about the role that she played in you choosing Notre Dame, and what were some of the other schools that were kind of on your list during that time? And I know for you, that had to be tough. You were kind of picking your school and coming out of high school during one of the worst times out there during COVID, of course. But just talk about your decision to attend Notre Dame and attend your basketball career there.
Yeah, well, actually, while my sister was being recruited, Notre Dame was my favorite school, and I needed her to go there because I loved it. During my recruiting process, I saw and I love Notre Dame still. I knew it was going to be between Notre Dame and another school, but I was really interested in creating my own legacy, creating my own name, and figuring out where I would be able to do that. And then obviously at the end of the day, my sister surprised me on my official at Notre Dame, and she was playing overseas at the time. And so it just really made it clear that I was able to leave a legacy at Notre Dame, leave my own, while also honoring my family's legacy, my sister's legacy. So I hope I've been able to do that so far, and it's not done yet. But yeah, it's been a great journey.
You talk about it not being done yet. We talked about COVID. Obviously, you get the quote-unquote bonus year of able to come back to Notre Dame for one final ride. What are you doing to prepare for this last season at Notre Dame so you can go out the right way?
Yeah, it's a lot of mental preparation, a lot of small details before the big ones. I think in this offseason in particular, we have starting next week, we have the whole team coming together. I have my point guard and Olivia Miles coming back. I have several large pieces coming together, and being able to lead a group like this where we have 5 superstars on the court at all times. Um, it's gonna take no pride. It's gonna take a lot of grit and a lot of just a winner's mentality and being able to keep the main thing the main thing. So just being able to lead this group is going to lead us into the success that we want to have in the future.
We have Maddy Westbeld with us again, playing college basketball at Notre Dame, former Fairmont Firebird, giving us today. But the thing that's wild, you talked about earlier college basketball, that the talent's always been there, but the publicity hasn't. And the thing that's wild in the Miami Valley is the amount of talent in the girls' game is pretty impressive too. I mean, every year, we're talking. I mean, you look at what Bryn Martin's doing at Springboro currently. Obviously, yourself and your sister, what you two were able to accomplish during your high school playing days. Bree Hall, she's killing it at South Carolina right now, of course. And there's just been so much talent here locally. Just talk about. We were talking before we went live today. You played with Bree Hall, of course. I mean, you know the talent that's in the area as far as the girls' game is concerned. But just talk about that, and not from a college perspective, but from a high school perspective, how good the talent is here in the Miami Valley.
It's awesome. I was just talking to Bree the other day. I just played her in Paris.
Nice.
Last year was against South Carolina in Paris. Both of us are 937 kids. Cody McMahon, 937 kid. She's a superstar at Ohio State. Obviously not Dayton, but my teammate KK Bransford, Makara Cook, Chance Gray. There's so many kids around the area who are, making a name for their families and just leaving a legacy for wherever they're at, but ultimately for our community. So it's just a great time to be a part of this community because we really bring the best out of kids. And so even my sister, like her era of players, there's great kids who come out of here and superstars who play at the next level. So I'm grateful to be in this area and kind of be one of those names is really a blessing.
Iron sharpens iron.
Absolutely.
Yeah. 17 minutes and 30 seconds. We had an entire women's high school and college basketball conversation without mentioning the name Caitlin Clark, but I have to bring it up because the WNBA right now is getting a ton of publicity and a lot of different layers, of course. And I'm just curious, from your perspective, what was the talk about Caitlin Clark from a player perspective? And not setting you up to say anything bad or whatever, but it's like the media controls this narrative that everyone hates her, that everyone's out to get her. I mean, is that a made-up media narrative? And you talked about wanting to play in the league next year. I mean, you got to be careful. Apparently, there's bullies everywhere. They're just going to knock you down. They're just going to make your life miserable. Just talk about, what was the perception from a player's perspective of Caitlin Clark in college and sitting back watching what her and Angel Reese and the rest of the talented rookie class is doing in the WNBA right now?
I think at the college level, the perception of Caitlin Clark looks a little bit different. And I think the reason for that is because she's the same age as us. We all recognize the impact that she has had. And so we grew up together. We understand that what she has done for the game has done nothing but grow it. At the WNBA level, I recognize that the respect has not been earned. There's so many great players in the league who haven't had that respect from the media, from, different publicity standpoints. And so she is an amazing player and, she's done such a great impact for the game. I think that the WNBA in general has not had enough respect for the players that are already in it. And so I really, truly think that is all it is because it's a really competitive league. It's a really physical league. And I think that's all it is. So I'm excited for her journey. I'm excited for the greatness that she's going to continue to bring to the game. And I'm excited for the opportunities that she has brought to the WNBA and the fact that I'll be there in a year to find out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think people forget that, this is the WNBA. This is not the NBA where there's 30 teams. There's 12 teams at WNBA, and they're all fighting for those spots. I mean, we see so many first round picks that get cut in the WNBA and things like that. So, this is, in my opinion, outside of, football and hockey, the most competitive league in all of sports because there's so few spots. You have absolutely the best female basketball players in one setting. So you're going to get the best out of everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Well, Maddy, we appreciate your time. We're going to send you out with this little rapid fire with Kev Nash. He's going to send you out with some quick questions to close out this conversation. And, of course, we'll plug your camp one more time on the way out. But here's rapid fire with Kev Nash.
All right. Number one, best shooter on the team.
Oh. Outside of me, Sonia.
Okay. Favorite sport outside of basketball?
Sand volleyball.
Okay. Favorite sneaker to hoop in?
Kobe's.
I knew it. It's always Kobe's. It's always Kobe. All right. Favorite Notre Dame jersey combo?
Ooh. We had a lime green edition this year. I don't know if it was lime, but it was green. It was tough.
Okay. All right. Favorite road environment?
UConn.
Okay.
Definitely UConn. That's every kid's dream to play.
Favorite hooper growing up?
Kevin Durant.
KT. Go-to pregame song?
Ooh. I would say something by Meek Mill.
Okay. Hold up. Wait a minute. Y'all thought that we was finished? A TV show you're watching right now?
I don't even watch TV shows. Probably like maybe Grey's Anatomy. Actually, no, Outer Banks.
Okay. Yeah, I'll write that too. Just a little suggestion. Watch Your Honor. It's on Netflix. It's 2 seasons. If you like Breaking Bad, it's got that actor in it, Walter White. He's in that. It's very good. All right. Go to Starbucks order. I heard you're a big coffee person.
I am a big coffee person. I prefer locally owned, but if I had to go to Starbucks, it would be probably an iced lavender latte with almond milk.
Okay. Last one. NBA Finals. Mavs or the Celtics?
Let's go Mavs. I would say Mavs.
Ooh, okay. Well, there it is. 10 rapid fire questions.
All right. Maddy Westbeld, former Fairmont Firebird, Notre Dame Fighting Irish, of course, has one more year left at the college ranks, and hopefully we're talking about her in the WNBA a year from now, no doubt about it. But coming up this Friday, Maddy Westbeld's basketball clinic, again, developing skills and leadership. That's going to be at Trent Arena. And Maddy, just on the way out, just give everyone one more push for this camp. Where can people sign up? Where can people get more information?
Well, you can definitely look on all of my social media pages. It's kind of blasted everywhere. I have several sponsors reaching out for the opportunity to sponsor kids who aren't financially able to pay. So if you're in a situation where you're not able to, but you would still like to be in a gym, there's absolutely an opportunity for you to come. Just reach out to any of my social media pages, reach out to the email that I have linked to my page or to my camp, and we'll absolutely get you in the gym. At the end of the day, we're just trying to give back to the community who raised us and get opportunity to get kids in the gym. So that's all it is. But go Irish, and excited for this opportunity.
All right, Maddy, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you, and looking forward to having you on again soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Thanks.